How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I'm at my home garage, the original Wrench Everyday HQ, because this is going to be the starting point for today's adventure. I'm going to go over every single car that I have in a huge garage update, and I have a very big announcement for you guys. Actually, I have two big announcements. And a car. I got a new car. So if you guys are new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it, and consider subscribing because this is going to be an amazing month if you like content. Some of you may have noticed that I haven't been posting all that much in the last month. Well, get ready for that to change, because my first announcement, my first of two, is the fact that I'm going to be posting on a regular schedule. So I'm going to do every other day, and we're going to have new projects, new builds, we're going to finish old builds, and we're going to have a lot of stuff that you guys will love to see. At least that's the idea. And that's all leading up to a Christmas special of CarTrek. I can't wait for you guys to see it. In fact, I'm going to let you guys see a rough cut, well, the first few seconds of a rough cut of the first episode. Now, my second announcement is, well, it doesn't actually have to do with me. It has to do with my wife over there. Well, namely my wife's car, because I have to get her a new car. So we had a baby, and babies change things. So that car is no longer as good as I thought it was. It has 250,000 miles. It runs great, but I want something a little bit nicer, a little bit safer, a little bit more luxurious. Now, we have been looking for a car for quite a long time, and I've narrowed it down to a Tesla Model 3 or a CLS 550 Mercedes, not the AMG version, unfortunately, but we also are looking at some SUVs, but I want your input because I really don't know where to go, and my wife has not really been the easiest to please in terms of cars, even though she really likes that one. So what she wants is something with that sort of like rakish styling, almost like a coupe, but it has to have a lot of room in the back, and it also needs to be somewhat affordable. So we're looking between the 20 and 30 grand range used. I definitely don't want to buy anything new. And we want something with cameras, perhaps a 360 camera, definitely a rear view camera, and something that doesn't have like 100 horsepower. If it can have a V6 at the very least, that would be good, and also a good ride quality. So if you guys have anything like that, you can send me an email at FoundOnAutoTempest@gmail.com. I would appreciate it if you found the car on AutoTempest, because AutoTempest is a big supporter of mine. But enough about that thing. I want to talk about this thing, my 2009 Aston Martin DBS. This is my money no object supercar, dream car, ultimate car, and I love it. I've been driving this thing every single day for the past few weeks, and it's been amazing. Well, you can see I've been driving it every single day for the past few weeks. It does have a few rock chips. I did actually manage to scrape this pretty good, so that's great. This car just makes me feel so good. It's an event every single time. I mean, I just sort of relive my youth when I drive this car. It makes me want to lose some weight, it makes me want to just be a better person, and it also makes me want to grow my hair out. So some of you may have noticed that my hair has been thinning for a little while, but I have slowed that thinning down quite considerably, and that's not all because of the car, even though it does make me feel youthful. It's because of today's sponsor, Keeps. Did you guys know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? I'm 33, and that definitely applies to me. So the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left. So with Keeps, you can get treated from home. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription, but now you can visit a doctor online and get your hair loss medication delivered right to your home. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months, so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. But the most important part is prevention, because with Keeps, you typically see results in 4 to 6 months. So the sooner you start, the more hair you can save. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/Tavarish or click the link in the video description to receive 50% off your first order. That's KEEPS.com/Tavarish. Go check it out right now. So let me show you around my Aston Martin DBS. This thing is one of the rarest cars I own because it has a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, these cars have been going up in price quite a bit, and it's even better than that because this car is full James Bond spec. Now, I've done a video on this car on my channel, so you guys can see it in the link in the description below. But just check out that shifter. It is just amazing. Now, I've seen these cars at auction go for up to $140,000. Which is insane because you could buy this thing for like 80 or 90 just a few years ago. I actually bought it for less than 100, which is more money than I've ever spent on any car ever, but it's still going up in value. Now, my car is finished in Casino Royale and it has about 32,000 miles, but it does need a few things, namely the tires. The tires are not good. They're Pirelli P0s, and Pirelli P0s might be good when they're new. These tires aren't new, they need to be changed. These are a little bit hard. This thing can get the rear end out really, really easily, and that's not just because of the 510 horsepower 6-liter V12. These tires definitely need to go. So I have new Michelin PS4Ss ready to go on this car, and I also have ordered a power pack for this car, meaning that there's going to be headers, exhaust, and a tune, which ups the power from 510 to around 565, which is what the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S and Vanquish made. So this is a little bit more modern, and it sounds a little bit better, and it also is a little bit faster. And switching gears to this thing, welcome everyone to my new Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. This is a predecessor to the James Bond provenance of this car, because this was in Die Another Day. Now, this is not the movie car itself, but it is sort of movie car spec, sort of, kind of, a little bit, not really. So those of you who have been watching my channel will have known that this car was used on CarTrek 2, and this was Ed Bolian's car, and I had to have it afterwards. Even though he did a not very flattering classified, I enjoyed looking at this car, and honestly, I enjoyed driving it even though it wasn't firing on all the cylinders. Now, this is still very CarTrek spec here, with some water bottles and some trash and a charger because the battery is not all that great. So this car hasn't been cleaned. This car really hasn't done anything other than sit in my garage since it got here from CarTrek, but I have some really big plans for this car. So number one, I don't hate these wheels. These are non-standard wheels. I do like the way that the standard wheels look, but honestly, bigger wheels make this car, but I don't like black. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make these silver to more match the wheels on the DBS. And I think that is gonna really make this pop. Also, I'll do some suspension mods because you see the back has like no fender gap there, and the front, you can stick 3 fingers in there. So I am definitely gonna have to get either lowering springs or coilovers or something. And I'm also going to do something about this interior. Now, I've already talked to the guys at E3 Customs, and we're going to come up with a plan to make a completely custom interior. Now, I know that the Callum 25, that $500,000 version of this car, has an awesome interior, and I want to make something like that, something that's my own, but also very contemporary, and gives a little bit more room, a little bit more of a flowing design. And speaking of flowing design, you see that there's just like a cup holder in there. This car is also going to be converted to manual, but I'm not going to send it off to the UK to Aston Martin Works. I'm going to do it myself. And turns out I already have most of the parts, which I'll get to when I go to the shop. All right, now some quick details on this car. Originally, Ed Bolian got this for $29,000, but he did put some extra money into it, namely the clutch. The clutch was very, very expensive, and I'm very grateful that Ed did it because I don't want to pay for that. But I ended up kind of paying for it on the back end because I bought this car for $37,500, which is more than Ed paid, so he made a little bit of money. But this is still the cheapest V12 Vanquish in the world with a clean title. I'm sure you can get one of these cheaper with a salvage title or crashed or something like that. But check this out. You can hear that F1 pump going. I don't know if it's called an F1 pump, but it's the single clutch automated manual pump. You have V12 Vanquish badge that is very well used. Everything here is very hand built, meaning that, well, there are tolerances and things don't quite line up the way they should. You put the key in, turn it, then press the brake, then hold. Actually, I think you have to do both paddles. Nope, we've gone into the wrong gear. That's second. Both hands. All right, now we're neutral, and now we can start the car with this start button. And right there. There we go, that's the start button. Ooh. And the car hasn't been started in a while, so it runs a little bit lumpy, but it'll smooth out pretty good. I love these gauges. They're sort of what you see in an old-timey airplane. At least that's what my mind thinks an old-timey airplane looks like. It might not actually look like this, but ooh, that sounds amazing. And this engine is very, very similar to the engine in that car, except it's a little bit less refined. It makes around 450 horsepower, that makes 510. And I definitely want to do something to this engine to make it a little bit more usable and, dare I say, faster, because this car is not fast. Now, the reason why I got this car in the first place was because I love Aston Martins. I loved my V8 Vanquish when I first got it, and the DBS was my ultimate dream car. And the Vanquish was just something that came up, and I knew that I wasn't gonna get another chance to own one. So I figured, why not? And in addition, I could go over everything wrong with this platform in general, and then make it sort of in my own image to make it drive better, to make it sound better, to make it perform better, and also to give it a very nice manual transmission right in this area. So a car that you guys haven't seen for a while is my truck, and my truck is actually back there, but I have a video that I'm shooting right now cleaning that truck up, and it is shooting right this second. So I don't want to give away too much, but that truck has never, ever, ever been washed since I got it. And I got it basically right after it got a paint job. So that paint has never seen a car wash. So I'm very excited to share with you how that all came out. In addition, I'm going to do a lot of work on that truck with some Banks products in a new series I'm calling Weekend Build, and that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. But right now, I'm getting a little bit sweaty. I know that it is December, but in Florida, it's still summer because it's always summer in Florida. So I'm going to go somewhere where there's air conditioning, and I'm talking about my shop. Okay, so you'll notice that a few things are a bit different. We have walls. We have 1, 2, 3, and that's it. We just have 3 walls. But these walls are the basis of a new lounge area that I'm putting in the shop. This is gonna be awesome. So in addition to the walls, I also have a new closet. That's my bathroom, and the closet is just for things and stuff and junk. I'm gonna have all my boxes that I have yet to open, and I'm gonna have some t-shirts and whatnot. I'm also gonna put some lighting in here. I haven't wired that up yet, but this is looking really, really cool. Now, this couch I got on Facebook Marketplace. It was super cheap for what it is. I mean, it's a really huge sectional. It is quite large, and it even has a, I don't know what that's called. It's a mini couch. I don't. So here's the ultimate plan for this area. This is going to be a lounge for when people want to just sit down and relax. And when I say people, I mean me, because I get tired, and I was really tired of just sitting on the floor or on a stool. So couches are here. A big TV is going to go over there, probably some video game systems. And speaking of video games, there's going to be an arcade machine right there. Not sure which arcade machine it's going to be, but most likely going to be a racing game, and most likely going to be a racing game from my childhood. So like Daytona USA or Sega Super GT or something really, really cool. Cruising USA. Actually, you guys can tell me what you'd like to see in this space. I was originally going to do a sim rig with an actual car, but that would actually take up too much room. So that is going to happen at some point, but it's not going to be here. In addition, I'm going to line the walls with memorabilia from all my builds and CarTrek and everything. So these are just white walls, but they're not going to stay white for long. I'm going to have hoods, I'm going to have bumpers and body panels and signed stuff, and it's just going to be really, really cool. Now, over here is where I'm going to have my detailing bay. And I ordered new cabinets. They're going to go from here all the way back, and they're going to be the same color as my bend pack lifts over there. They are going to look awesome, and they're going to feed the detailing bay, because whatever's going to be in this space is going to have an awesome light. It's going to have one of those hex lights that just look amazing with any detailing video, because I want to do some more detailing videos, maybe not on this channel, maybe on a new channel, but that's going to be coming up as well. Now, this car is something that you guys can just ignore. I'm not talking about this right now. You guys see what it is. I'm not talking about it right now. Also, this car is not mine, even though I wish it sort of was. I really miss my old MR2. This is a right-hand drive one, and it looks in really decent shape. This is Derek's from across the street. He has Drizza Auto, and he works on these JDM cars, and I just told him that I didn't want this thing sitting outside, so it can just come in the shop and meet some friends. There's a lot of friends here. So speaking of friends, this car, I just got it back from the body shop, and it looks fantastic. Now, this is another teaser, because this is also getting ready to be 100% completed. That video is getting shot right now, and this is going to be a very interesting video to see, because the glow up for this car is insane. It has an OEM white pearl paint job. Color Recon did an amazing job, and there's some red interior accents. There's some huge brakes and brand new Koenig wheels and Michelin PS4S tires. This is a epic build, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. You're going to see it in the next video coming up very, very soon on this car. In addition, you're going to see that car coming up in a video very, very soon, because this is also getting done in the next day or two. This has everything it needs to start and run, and I need to order some new tires for it, but other than that, this should be a 800 horsepower Porsche 911, which is crazy on its own. But then we're also going to be doing the detailing to make it look brand new, and this is a low mileage example. I believe it has something like 49,000 miles, and it is a rare color, rare interior color. I can't wait to get this thing on the road. Right here is my Lexus SC300. I just bought it for Wrench Every Day. Go check that out in the link in the video description below. I worked on it with Jared, my friend. You guys know Jared from all my builds. He is an MVP every single time, but I bought this to replace my other SC300, which, well, this happened to it.
he's so delicate with it. What do you think? They didn't even let you get away.
No.
You gotta watch it fresh.
Oh boy.
You mad?
Wow. Oh wow. That's smaller than it used to be. Now this is the start of a new build, but it's also the realization of a dream. I always wanted a very, very clean Lexus SC, and then I'm just going to modify it in a way where I've always wanted to modify that car. I want to do wheels, tires, suspension, exhaust, engine. The engine is over there, that 1JZ with a 5-speed. Probably going to change it out to a 6-speed or something, but this car is going to be fantastic and also on a budget. And speaking of budget, this is what's going to break it. This my 3000 GT VR4. I just put on some new tires because the tires that were on here, they used to be 265, now they are 255s, and they fit a little bit better and they rub a little less. And you can see why they rubbed, because the wheels aren't exactly the correct fitment for this car. Again, beggars can't be choosers. I love the way these wheels look, even though they're not exactly the right offset. But this car does need a lot of work, because if you look underneath, it is just a complete rust bucket. So this is gonna have an engine out, subframe out, everything's gonna get sandblasted and powder coated and just refinished to better than OEM spec. This is going to be coming up not very soon. This is probably going to be coming up after I finish a lot of other projects, because, well, I have a lot of other projects. And speaking of those other projects, boom, Ferrari and Lambo. You thought you saw the last of this? Definitely not. You thought you saw the last of this? Well, I mean, nobody thought they saw the last of this. This is definitely still in a very dilapidated state. Now, the Ferrari is in a state where I am waiting for the rotary to just make its way in here, because that's how engine swaps work. What I'm actually waiting to do is I have to take everything out and then get it powder coated. Now, I have some interesting plans for this car, and that is going to be revealed in a upcoming video. It is very interesting, and I don't think it's ever been done before, at least not on a Ferrari, so stay tuned for that. This is a more long-term build, just because to do things right, I could cobble everything together and get it done in 2 weeks and then just say, oh, okay, it's done. But I want to build it better, and I want to make sure that everything is as good as it possibly can be, which takes time, and it takes research, and it takes a lot of money. But behind the Ferrari is another addition to my shop, and that is the engine rack, and the engine and transmission rack, apparently. So we have the Ferrari F355 engine with the transmission, little teeny tiny thing. We have a Ferrari 430 engine, or an F430 engine, and we have a bunch of transmissions here. Now, this one is a Supra, I believe. This is a Supra 5-speed, and this is a Mercy 6-speed. And this one is interesting because this is actually a transmission from a V12 Vanquish, and this is a manual. So a while back, you'll have maybe heard the story on VinWiki about a guy who had a manual V12 Vanquish Aston Martin, and it burned down in his house. Well, I got the transmission from it. So this apparently still works. I'm not quite sure, but I do know that everything in the back right here that makes it convert into a manual, that still does work. And this is essentially just a T56 like you'd get in a Mustang or a Camaro. So I could get parts, like if I need some bushings or something like that, or something rubber, that like a rubber isolator, I can definitely get that brand new instead of having to go to Aston Martin. So this was a very good score. I might just put it in like this. Well, I'd have to clean it up a little bit, but this is a very rare part, and I hope to put that in the car sometime soon. Now, this is also the 6-speed from a, well, it's not from anything really. This is the 530 diesel 6-speed that's supposed to go in my SL55, but this is going to prove to be a little bit too jerky, a little bit too notchy. So I'm not going to use that. I'm actually going to use a BMW M5 transmission. Now the SL55 is getting this. So we have this machined flywheel, we have a clutch from an M5, and then we also have an adapter plate that mates an M5 transmission to this. So it's gonna work on my SL55. This is gonna be awesome, 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 and I'm not gonna need to do any sort of weird welding like this has. I'm gonna use a clutch that is right off the shelf, and I can't wait to put this in. This should be coming up soon, perhaps in January. Now here is the Audi R8 engine that I took out of my friend Eric's car. This has 140,000 miles on it, and it's just sitting here. It does have low compression on one or more cylinders, so it would need a rebuild, but right now Eric's just kind of leaving it here, so I don't mind. I mean, I could turn it into a table. Comment if you want me to turn this into a table without Eric knowing. Coming over here, my 6.2 Lamborghini V12 with some custom headers and a transmission that's over there. Now this was in the other stunt car from Fast and Furious, so this is the entire drivetrain, and I have everything I need from the interior of the car over there. So I essentially have all the stuff to make this run in whatever car I want. So this might be a basis for a new build coming up next year. I'm not quite sure, just because I don't know if I want to preserve this engine because it is a part of movie history in some way, and it's also a good spare for my Mercy, which is at the Peterson right now. So coming back through here, we see the Lambo that started it all. This car needs some work. So I'm taking apart all of the top, that convertible top that doesn't work. Yeah, it's finally gonna work. So I figured out the problem, and the problem is I'm going to replace every single piece, and it's gonna be very expensive, but that's gonna be okay because this is a Lamborghini, and Lamborghinis can be expensive every once in a while. So this also needs a new clutch because I don't like the way the clutch is engaging. I have found a new clutch, HCF, that worked with B is for Build. They reached out, and I will be buying a new clutch from them. So when that comes in, hopefully in the next month or so, then I'm going to be putting that in, and then we're going to be really going for some power pulls and driving a lot because I miss this thing, and my other Lambo is across the country, so I need one in the shop. I can't wait to get started on this thing. Well, I can't wait to get this on the road because this is already, I'm way past started on this. Now over here is the SL55. Oh boy, this looks fantastic. Again, this is a color recon job. They did an amazing job repainting the car. We did a complete color change to Hyacinth Red Pearl. I did a video on this, but it actually had to go back to the shop because when it was delivered, I didn't notice, but the tow truck driver scraped the bottom of the bumper, so I had that redone, and now it just looks, it looks so good. Now, the manual swap on this car, a lot of you had told me about XF Motorsports, and I've been in contact with him for quite a few months. I have talked to him about different solutions. He's put a CD009 in his E55, which is a little bit different of a chassis, but has a lot of similarities to this. Now, I could just do something like that. Mechanically, to do a manual swap, really not that hard. I mean, you have to do some custom stuff, drive shaft and pedals and stuff. That I figured out quite a long time ago, and I have all that. The issue is just the ECU. And the ECU, actually, I have a solution for that, but XF, he is also doing the same solution for the ECU, and he sent out his ECU, so he's gonna let me know what he finds. He's gonna be kind of like a guinea pig because I'd have to send out this ECU to get flash tuned to make sure that it can actually do what it's supposed to do when it's manual. The problem is, when this car is manual, the supercharger turns off. This has a clutch-driven supercharger, which means that electronically it can turn on and off. And if it doesn't sense a speed signal, which with the transmission being different and the car essentially being in park or neutral, it won't see. So the supercharger won't work if I just convert everything to manual, which is a bummer with 550 horsepower potentially. So I'm gonna figure that out, and then all it takes is just putting everything in, plugging in that ECU, and then it should be sorted. My daily driver has actually not been my daily driver for quite a long time because I do need to do some coil packs. I wanna do a big brake kit, and I've been toying around with the idea of either selling it or completely overhauling it, like doing an S65 kit and getting an exhaust. So you guys let me know, do I get something newer like an E63 or a C63 that's a little bit smaller, or do I keep this V12 running? I really do like how comfortable this is. I love the power. I don't like the fuel economy, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, if you look at my other cars. And this is very cheap to run, very cheap to buy. I bought this car for $12,000, and if I sell it, it'll probably be for that amount. So it's not like I'm gonna make any money on this, but it's a very, very good car. So I'm really torn. I don't know what to do. You guys let me know. Should I modify it, keep it as is and just kind of maintain it, or sell it and get something new? Over here is something that I haven't released yet, and I told you I was going to do that about a few months ago when I said I had all these announcements to make, and it just kind of didn't get there because I still don't have any plans for this, and I don't want to put out a build without a clear deadline or a clear goal. So this is going to be coming out probably January or February. It is very interesting. I think you guys will like it a lot, but right now I'm still in the research phase, so I'm not ready to let you guys know what it is. I did post it on Instagram though, so if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, go ahead and do that, and you can see what this car actually is. Over here, Matt Farah's Million Mile Lexus, that is getting a full respray, a full interior, and a full overhaul mechanically. So this is going to be coming up soon in the next, I'd say, few months or so, because I want to give this back to Matt. I'd like to drive this across the country and hand deliver it to Matt Farah and see what he thinks of his, well, essentially new Lexus LS400 with 1 million+ miles on it. But over here we have something that's quite interesting. So I've been watching a lot of Samcrack lately, and I think I can fix this with some panel bond and some stop leak. So we're gonna see if that actually works. Okay, I'm just kidding. This is also for a project that I haven't released yet. This is not the car that I'm building, so just know that. But I got this car, and now it looks like this. So yeah. Now this thing is pretty cool. My Bugatti Civic, you'll see that the wheels are a little bit more sunken in. Jared and I actually made this thing run and drive, and made it so it's not the sketchiest thing in the world. It still is really, really sketchy, but everything on the engine works. It actually builds boost, and you'll see how it actually runs in an upcoming episode. We have the episode shot. All I have to do is edit it, and we need to have a final goal for this car. So a lot of you told me to basically bury it or break it or turn it into a real Bugatti, which is that's impossible. But this car needs to have some sort of resolution. This car has to have an end. So maybe it'll go out to the Freedom Factory. Maybe it'll just do something else. I don't know. You guys let me know. Also, this is not the roof, obviously, of the Civic. This is the McLaren roof. The McLaren is over there. Now, I don't want to spoil a surprise too much, because if you didn't know, this video is actually getting recorded quite a while before I release any of this. So if you see this now, don't worry, this has a lot more progress in it by the time you're seeing it, at least hopefully. So this is my McLaren 675 LT, and it might not look a lot different from when you last saw it, when Jared and I put the engine and all the back rear section in, but there is a lot that I did. Right here is the old subframe, and in here is the new subframe. And it was it was an adventure getting this thing on. The subframe goes under here. The subframe, the old one, was bent, and this new one was about $4,000, and it went in not too bad, but what I had to do was also make sure that everything was torqued to spec, and if I took out a bolt, I'd had to put it back at exactly the same tightness, so I marked off all the bolts where I did that, because, of course, we are building it better. And speaking of building it better, if you take a look at the front of this, you can see several points of damage. And when the car got hit, it damaged right here, right here. This plastic is all cracked, and there's some cracks on the bottom over here. So I decided that I am going to replace all of this, and every single piece that has a little bit of damage on it. I mean, this wouldn't be too bad, but I know it's here, so I would rather have a brand new piece. So I ordered a bunch of parts, and right now I'm waiting on those parts. That was another $5,000, and that's all little stuff like these brackets. This bracket I bent back. It took me about 2 hours to hammer this bracket back because it was bent like a pretzel, and I hammered it back, and it does its job. It's a bracket and it holds up this beam right here, but I know that this doesn't look OEM, and I know that it could look a lot better, so I ordered 2 new brackets. And this is exactly the kind of stuff that you need to do when you're trying to make a car 100% OEM, when you can look underneath and not see any sort of blemishes, any damage, anything that's concerning, because that's what I want to do in this channel, and that's why I'd like to distance myself from maybe other builds, because I know a lot of other people, they can put out cars and not do like the fine details that take literally 80% of the time. And I'm not calling out anybody, don't get me wrong there. Everybody that I know that does these rebuilds, they do an awesome job. I just want to make sure that on a car like this, that's very, very, very expensive, it's the most expensive car I've ever had, I want to make sure that I do it right. Now, last but not least is my little Honda Beat. I love this car so much, and I'm at a crossroads because I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I could do like a Hayabusa or a GSXR swap, like a motorcycle engine in there, and then have this go really, really fast and be really loud, but that tends to be very expensive. There's a lot of custom work involved. Or I can do an EV swap, because I've been watching a lot of rich rebuilds, and it turns out an EV swap is a little bit easier than I thought, and a lot of that zero motorcycle stuff, that would definitely fit in this car. There's some room in the front, there's some room in the back, and there's not a lot of car here, so this would legitimately be pretty quick. So I'm not sure what to do there. Maybe I just leave it stock and just get an exhaust, body kit, wheels, suspension, and then just drive it. But this at around 65 miles an hour is the end of the world. This is tacked out almost completely. It's at like 8,000 RPM at 5th gear at 68 miles an hour or something like that. It is something ridiculous. So it's not like I can drive this thing realistically on the highway, so I have to have a way that I can change that, maybe a different gear set, maybe a turbo. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. I love this car. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm definitely going to do an episode or 2 about this build sometime in the future after all the other stuff is done. So that's going to be it for today's garage update. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys are very excited for what's about to happen, because I don't actually know if I can pull this off, but if I do, oh boy, it's gonna be glorious. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started on all the videos I need to shoot and edit and finish, and all the cars I need to work on. But until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on cars like this, and like that, and like this, oh, especially like that, you guys need to build it better, and to do that, you should wrench every day. I mean every single day.